All right, welcome back. It's the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and it's time for the first of our two segments on Fence Riders. Mike sent us a bunch of questions on the Cavs, the Guardians, and the Browns. Did everybody answer? Let's be
Everyone
honest here.
actually answered. I did not assign an answer to anybody. All 10 people answered the question this week.
So the 10 people are the three of us on this panel. You, Zach Jackson, that's 5. Dustin and Tyvis, that's 7.
Jay.
G. Bush, that's 8. Jay, that's 9.
And Chris Renkel is now
And
part
Chris
of the
Renkel
Fence Riders
is
Chris
squad.
Renkel is part of the NFR club.
Let's go.
Let's do
Does
this.
he have a picture now?
He doesn't, but I'll tell you which side we need a smaller fence and or smaller heads to be able to fit Chris on. So we're going to work on that for football season. We'll get Chris a picture.
All right.
But most of these were very, very even, and I'm excited to debate. Let's get into the first one. For the Browns in 2026, will a wide receiver or a tight end lead the team in receiving yards? Bull,
I can't remember what I said.
Dustin, Jay, and Earl said a receiver will be the leaders. Chris Renkel joins myself, Jason G, Tyvis, Zach, with the tight end as the leading receiver.
I thought this was a toss-up.
I did too.
I was like, will it be Fannin or will it be one of the rookies? Because I have no faith in Jerry Jeudy.
I think the quarterback plays into it too.
Definitely, yes.
So, and we don't know which way
Well, if
that's
it's
going
a
to go.
door, it's probably going to be Fannin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably going to be
But
I mean, it might be with Deshaun as well.
the
We just don't know.
the only thing about Fannin is he catches a lot of short passes.
Yeah.
So
But he's impossible to tackle.
let's not get carried away. But
He broke more
Impossible to
tackles than any of their
tackle.
tight ends.
No,
Henry all
boy,
of a
I don't know, man. He was carrying defenders last year.
He broke more tackles than any of the tight end in football last year.
I don't think he ever went down on the first tackle.
I don't know. Travis Kelce's gotten pretty hefty. He might not be able to get tackled this year.
Travis
I love
Kelce
Travis Kelce. By the way,
looks like me walking out of the field.
on there, let me just say this real quick.
No, he really
Because
did.
we have to debate this
I know.
subject at some point. Did you see on there? I saw a clip of the Kelce brothers podcast, and they were debating who would win in a football game if you had one team was 11 offensive/defensive linemen, or I'm sorry, 22 offensive/defensive linemen that could rotate in and out. But that's one team.
Mm-hmm.
The other team was 11 skill position players that it was just those 11, no rotating. They had to play offense and defense. And who would win the game? And they were debating that. So don't give me your answers. Think about it. I think sometime we got to discuss that.
All right. Any other thoughts on receive? Jason, you went tight end.
You went
Earl,
tight
you
end,
went
Jason.
receiver. So, Earl, who do you think it is?
I mean, it was splitting hairs for me, too. I'm going with one of the rookies. I think Casey Concepcion is going to be a guy that's going to operate in space a lot, kind of like Zay Flowers did for Baltimore. And I think he's going to get an opportunity to have a lot of those explosive plays. But, like, to me, it was a toss-up because I wanted to go Harold Fannin so bad. I think Harold Fannin going to be a star. I do.
I just think it's going to be hard for him to put up huge. I just think the quarterback play is not going to be good enough for him to put up star numbers yet. But I think the potential's there.
All right. Time for the next one. And this played out in a way I never saw coming. The question was, who will finish the season with a higher OPS, Stephen Kwan or Kyle Manzardo? 4 people picked Manzardo. 6 people picked Stephen Kwan. The
Tyler's
4 people who
wrong.
picked Manzardo are us 4.
Oh, look at
Somehow
that.
we are the ones we have no one to debate because the other 6 people who picked Stephen Kwan
Yeah.
are not here. So why'd you go with Manzardo?
I
make
thought
this
it was
quick.
pretty easy. Manzardo's got power, Quan doesn't. So even if Quan's a little better, now you're going to say, well, Quan's going to walk more. And
They're basically even right now. I looked it up.
Yeah, but right. They were basically even, right? And Quan will get more hits the rest of the season. Quan will walk more. But Manzardo's going to hit home runs. Quan's not going to hit. I mean, if he hits home runs 2 or 3.
Hopefully. I'm not sure.
But just in general, Manzardo will have more doubles. And OPS is on-base percentage is half of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then slugging percentage is half of that.
Yeah.
So on-base percentage, it doesn't matter how you get on base. It's all the same. But slugging percentage, a single and a walk are the same. No, I'm sorry. Not a single and a walk. A single is is one thing, which is what most of the Quan's hits are. But a double, a triple, and a home run are all worth more. And so your OPS when you hit home runs spikes more quickly.
All right, so based on with everything that we
Yeah.
talked about today, then I was right picking Kyle Manzardo because
I think you are.
the on-base stuff, I mean, we talked about where players bat in the lineup.
Yeah.
Well, he's batting after Chase and Jose all the time. So You know what I mean? His opportunities are going to be there. I think the RBI opportunities are going to be there. And I just think like the fact that he's a power hitter,
Yeah.
you know, it plays into it. Of course, Tyvus was going to go Quan. He's biased, you know.
That's true.
I think the rest of them was just, you know, just tossing it up.
Prisoner of the moment.
Huh?
Prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, it's also a lot of prisoner of the moment. And Jay, you knew Jay was going to be on that side because he is the most prisoner of the moment member of this team.
And he's very down on Manzardo.
I know.
Very,
Man, he got on the
very
Guardians,
down on
period.
Manzardo.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Let's talk a little Cavs. Which young guard will play a bigger role on the Cleveland Cavaliers this season? Tyrese Proctor, who was their second-round pick last season, or Meleek Thomas, who just was a first-team All-Summer League
Now,
member?
the prisoner of the moment people are going to be the Meleek Thomas people.
Well, you picked Meleek Thomas, Bull. Along with Jay, Dustin, and G.
I'm one of the
The
prisoner
rest
of the
of
moment
us,
people.
Earl, Chris, Zach, Tyvus, myself, and Jason, went with Tyrese Proctor. Bull, you're prisoner of the moment.
It was a prisoner of the moment thing. I'll admit it.
That's
I
fine.
try not to be prisoner of the moment, but I am.
Well,
Because Meleek Thomas, you know, is the hot new toy here. And that sounded a little weird. I don't know. Tyrese Proctor, I didn't think there was much there.
I spend a lot of time around basketball guys now. You know, I have the privilege of, you know, going to cover Cavs games, and you just start to see how things work with this organization.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, you know, you pretty much get your rookie season to get your feet wet, to get acclimated to the pros, and you might play a little bit. You'll probably spend a lot of time in the G League. And then that next year is when they start the ramp-up period. That's typically when Kobe comes out and says, you know, this offseason or next year, I'm expecting a big jump from this guy. I've seen it with Jalen Tyson. I've already heard him talk about Tyrese Proctor and what Tyrese Proctor can bring to the table this year. We've seen what Meleek Thomas done in Summer League. And so now it's the thought process of go develop this young man.
Yeah.
Next year, let's see what he can do to contribute to this team.
I think part of the reason they've done it that way is because they haven't had any high picks. I think they would differ. Not that he was a high pick, Meleek Thomas.
Second-round pick.
No. It was separate from my argument about Meleek Thomas. Is I think the reason they've gone with that, you know,
Right, just
if
this-
they had a top 10 pick,
This blueprint basically that they've used.
Yeah, it's because it's been lower picks. And you might be right. They might do the same thing with Meleek Thomas.
When I answered this question, it was an easy Tyrese Proctor, but over the last 48 hours, I've heard some things that I don't love my answer anymore. I don't love my answer.
You don't love it, you don't like it.
You gonna switch?
No, I'm not going to switch, but I thought this was a lock.
Yeah.
And now I'm not sure it's a lock anymore.
Am I
And it's
crazy?
more of,
6'6"
I think they're
point guard?
higher on Meleek Thomas than I thought they would be at this stage.
Okay.
A
So
6'6"
we'll see.
point guard that can shoot, come out of Duke, got the pedigree.
I like Proctor. I picked Proctor. It wasn't a slam dunk for me, but I picked Proctor.
Okay.
All right, next question. Our first dead even split. We've had 3 6-4s, and now it's a 5-5 split. Well, the Browns have more than 2 Pro Bowlers in 2026, which means if you thought it was 2, it was a no.
I can't believe 5 people said yes to this.
5
I'm
people
one of the
did say
yes.
yes to this. Chris Rankle,
You know how many people make the Pro Bowl now?
Jay
Yeah, that's
Crawford,
true. It is the Pro Bowl.
Tyvis Powell, G. Bush, and Jason Lloyd all said yes.
Wow.
They will have
Earl, you were on the
more
right
than 2
side of
Pro
this.
Bowlers. Everyone else was on the no side. Jason, you're the lone yes of the 4
I mean,
of
it's
us
true.
here today.
Shador Sanders made the
But,
Pro
but,
Bowl.
but hold up though, Mike,
Yeah.
because I should have asked this question when we did it. Like the original selections. That's what I was talking
Well,
about,
then I'm
not
a no.
alternates.
Okay,
like,
so
no.
so
But what I mean,
I guess that's how I was asking it, Earl. But I guess loophole wise, Jason is correct. Shador was a Pro Bowler last year.
because it's just
the question was how many Pro Bowlers?
Mike asked the question poorly.
He just asked the question. So yeah, with the
I guess I meant original Pro Bowlers, not at the end of the day will they have 2 by alternate.
G. Bush would have been there either way. I don't know. Tyvis probably would have been there either way, and maybe Jay.
Jay answered like I did. I guarantee you, Jay
Yeah,
answered
that's
like
true.
I did.
You're
I
right.
literally thought about original Pro Bowl selections. That's why I said no.
Who on the Browns do you think has a good chance to be a legitimate Pro Bowl?
Carson Schlesinger.
Denzel Ward and Schlesinger.
Denzel.
Who'd you say before
Schlesinger.
Denzel Ward?
Schlesinger.
Okay.
I would say those 2. I would add Quinshon to that. I think Quinshon has a chance to be a legitimate Pro Bowler.
I mean, it's going to be hard. There's
AFC?
3 AFC.
I'm not saying it's a lock.
You've
but
got
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
A-Chain.
Yeah, they're going to stink,
Derrick
but the Browns
Henry.
probably stink
all
too.
it takes is one injury. at that position.
I
especially.
think Harold Fannin has a chance.
Absolutely, he has a chance.
So it's not crazy
No.
that they
No,
could
it's-
have three
it's not
legit.
crazy.
So we
Pro
saying the same
Not
thing.
crazy.
So like, due to injury, they can have more than that. But original selections, like, who do I feel the most confident in? Like, without injury, all things equal, I think Carson Schlesinger and Denzel Ward.
Yeah, and they could have zero. I mean, they could have zero legit Pro Bowlers too. That's possible
You
too.
put Jared Verse in there.
Yeah, Jared Verse.
That's true.
I took a lot of time thinking of a number that I thought
Yeah.
would get an equal amount of both, and obviously it worked out because I got 5.5. But Earl and I talked about was one too high. We're
Yeah,
like, no,
we was
that's
like
too
2.5. We
No.
ended up on
It was
2.5.
2.5.
If you would have said, would anybody of the Browns be All Pro?
That's different.
Well,
That's different.
then the over/under is 0.5
0.5. Did the Browns have any All Pros last year?
Miles.
miles.
Oh, besides Miles. Yeah.
But they don't have a current guy on the roster.
No.
Who was an All-Pro last season.
Who's got the best chance to be All Pro for the Browns?
Carson Schlesinger.
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't think Denzel makes All Pro. I don't think.
The quarterback
Denzel
position's
doesn't.
stacked
Jared
in
Verse
NFL.
is not going to be All Pro. Fannin's not going to be All Pro. And All Pro, it's not even AFC, NFC.
No, it's just first team, second
It's just
team,
first team, second
entire
team.
NFL.
That's it. I would say the Browns will have no All Pro.
And they already got Carson Schlesinger as a top 5 linebacker in the NFL after his
So
rookie
he'd
year,
have the best chance. When we come back, more Fence Rider. Next on the
A little bit
Ultimate
more,
Cleveland
a little
Sports
bit more.